And good evening, folks. This is a losing edition, unfortunately, of the WyoNation post-game show, and it stings a lot more because it is a border war version of the show. And unlike CBS, we will not shy away from using the word border war. Get more into that later. But I am your host, Chad Smith. Joining me is Mr. Brad Reed. Good evening, Brad.
Hi, Chad. I'm glad I have Wyoming whiskey tonight.
That's true. At least he is drowning his sorrows with alcohol brewed and distilled in the state of Wyoming.
Very important to distinguish.
Yes, Wyoming loses tonight 24-10 in Fort Collins and fall to 2-8 on the football season. And the chats are already in. Zach's in. He says, "Go Pokes," and then he follows that up with a ha ha ha. Thank you, Zach. Good to see you, man. Yeah, I don't know. We're trying to be calm here. I don't know if calmness is the right thing that we need to be. So welcome on in, everybody. Give it a few minutes to let everybody come on into the show. I know a lot of you may be, heading over to the Netflix, to that whole cluster.
What's going on Netflix, Chad?
From one cluster to another cluster.
It's a big deal when they got Shaq and Gronk there to watch a YouTube fighter.
There we go, yeah. But we are here to talk about some football. Let me get a couple of house cleaning things going up here. Get some stats ready to share, even though I don't really want to share them.
They're not good.
We're going to hide them here really quick. There, they popped up, but they went away. Trying to be calm, says Zach. Thanks for having a show. Of course, win or lose, we have a show. Because we understand, right? In the state of Wyoming, there's really no post-game show anymore. There used to be. They used to have Cowboy Call-In back in the day. And that's gone. So this is kind of the replacement for it. Clint is in the house. He says, "How's the whiskey going down?" You got the whiskey. I don't have any whiskey.
Well, we've got the Steamboat edition of the Wyoming whiskey, and I will say it's going down really well.
Yeah, and how's it described? What does the old bottle describe the Steamboat? I've seen it, but I have not bought it.
I don't know. I'd have to go get it.
Okay, that's fine. I thought you may know. So welcome on in, everybody. WyoNation.com, of course, is where we live in the interwebs, and we thank you all for being here. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please do so. It helps us out. Like the only channel out there dedicated to Wyoming sports. And it does help. People care about Wyoming. Random people find us. So if you like the channel, subscribe to the channel. It'll help us have it. He says, "What happened to Cowboy Call-In?" Oh, you didn't know that it existed?
Probably went away with a lot of things like they're on the radio did.
I don't know. And I just hit the wrong dang button again. It does this to me. Hold on here.
I kind of vaguely remember the Cowboy Call-In.
Yeah, Cowboy Call-In used to be on KOWB in Laramie.
Well, I think that probably just existed across like all the stations that broadcast Cowboy sports.
Maybe. Right? It's possible. Obviously, I lived close enough to Laramie because I'm from Cheyenne, or that's where I tuned into. I don't know if any other affiliates carried Cowboy Call-In, but it used to be hosted by the illustrious David Settle, who is now the voice of the Wyoming Cowgirls. Does a great job.
I remember it playing on KWOR.
Okay. So it was probably simulcasted.
Yeah, I would think so.
Hold on here. What the hell's going on here? I can't figure this out. Oh, well, we'll just have to deal with it. I don't know what's going on. Oh, boy. All right.
So, the sheep.
The sheep have won the boot, unfortunately. Cowboy Call-In, what does he say? Clint says, Cowboy Call-In was in the easiest way to drive from Laramie. We could catch it all the way home. Okay, yeah.
Not a quick drive.
Not a quick drive, that's true, but you could catch it. That's awesome. So, yeah, that's what we used to listen to, but they don't do that anymore. So we are here, and I'm still trying to figure out what the hell's going on with my... I hit a button, and it always screws it up, and then I can't figure out how to get rid of it, but we'll deal with it. It's just on my end. Just makes my screen look really weird, but we're good to go. So thank you everybody for coming on in. Leave your comments in the chat on YouTube. Leave your comments in the chat on Twitter, because that's what we're here for, to get your comments. You hear us every week yapping about stuff.
We were wrong on our predictions.
We'll do lots of yapping. Now, granted, I was the only person who picked Wyoming to lose.
Do you still have your little notepad where you had them written all down?
I did write it down. Here it is. Yeah.
Literally wrote it down.
I did write it down. Here we go. I have the scrap of paper right here. Oh. Let's see. Brad, do you remember what you picked?
17-14.
Yes, you did. He picked a 17-14 Wyoming win. Nowhere close. Shay predicted a 28-17 Wyoming win. Wow, that's a huge fail. I predicted a Wyoming 34-27 loss.
You weren't even close either.
And I wasn't even close, but at least I was on the right side of things. So,
congratulations, Mr. Naysayer.
I'm closest to the pin.
Yeah.
Right? Which wins you some stuff.
It wins you the worst prize on earth.
It does, yeah. Which is no boot. The worst prize on earth is the boot going to Fort Collins. That's very true.
At least we still have our little mini replica boots that we got last year for Christmas.
We do have those. Yeah, and I forget to grab one. I was going to grab one for the show to show it to everybody. But our friends at Rivalry Trophy, of course, sell that. And I was talking to them tonight. They were like, it was kind of funny. Before the game, they were like, Happy Bronze Boot Eve. And I was like, no, the game starts like in an hour. And they're like, oh, crap.
Happy Bronze Boot Day. That would have been better.
Yeah. So, all right. Well,
am I alone in thinking that this game could have been way worse than what the final score says?
Yes, and let's talk about that. So I've got some stats that I pulled.
Cool.
The problem with this football team and the problem with this coaching staff right now is they're kind of like Jekyll and Hyde. In the first half, they're usually absolutely terrible. And here are the stats to prove it. I pulled them at halftime. Wyoming, and this was entering this game, and so these numbers got a little worse on one side and a little better on one side. But heading into this game, Wyoming's average score at halftime was trailing 20.9 to 11.3. Right? So trailing by about 10 points at halftime. The 11 points in the first half ranked Wyoming 92nd in the country in first half scoring.
Bad.
And then how about this? The 20.9 points allowed in the country was 127th.
Also bad.
And so today the halftime score was 17-3. So they scored 8 points less than their average. But to their credit, I guess, gave up 3 points less than their average. But that is where this coaching staff gets me, is they're not prepared for first halves at all against anybody. And we even saw that against Idaho, which is absolutely ridiculous. And that's where, when I look at this coaching staff as a whole, and we'll get into a lot of things, that's where I'm out. How can you not be prepared for the border war after a bye week? That's my question.
Do you want to know what's trending on Twitter right now?
What? Tell me.
Wyoming Cowboys offensive woes continue in border war clash.
Whoa, okay. Who wrote that?
I don't know. It's just trending on Twitter right now.
It's trending. Oh, not alone at all. Looked like it was going to be a 45-point run at the start. Now, granted, yeah, they looked terrible. And so they did adjust at some point in time, but I just don't know. Sure, I'll give you credit for adjusting. But
keep in mind, though, the Sheep did give away a touchdown right before halftime.
They did. The guy just dropped the ball, right?
Yeah.
He was going to score.
Dropped it.
Yeah. And then I was going to say CSU played ultra conservative in the second half because they knew that we had nothing to offer.
That was some of the most conservative football I have seen since Craig Bull. I
could look it up, but I think they said there was there like 11 punts in the second half?
Oh, it was ridiculous. I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure.
Let me see if I can figure it out here really quick. Oh, I can. Hold on. Let me count them. Ready?
Wyoming.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 from Wyoming. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 from CSU's. That's 11 punts in one half of football. 11.
Oh, yeah. The Sheep used 2 punters tonight.
They did, yeah. The Aussie guy.
Who
was not impressive.
Yeah, his punts were really weird. They were really short too. But I assume that was just to keep the ball out of Tyler King's hands.
Sure. Of course, yes.
Because Tyler King's like one of those people, and I was going to tweet this and then I forgot because I was getting angry. But like every time he gets the ball in his hands, you're just like, oh shit, he's going to take it to the house.
Yeah.
And like every time he gets the ball in his hand, but obviously the Sheep were smart enough to keep it out of his hands for the most part tonight.
Oh, this is really weird. I accidentally exited it out of the Wyoming Live Stats broadcast.
Oh, nice.
And they've actually got the high school scores posted on here, which I didn't see before.
Yeah, I saw that.
So let's get some shout outs here. Star Valley beats Cody in the 3A title game, 20-7. I know a lot of people don't like Star Valley. Did you just point down to Star Valley? Okay. Yeah, I know that. Any of you out there from Star Valley, you guys get hated on. I don't get it because they're successful, I guess.
You didn't grow up in a 3A school, Chad.
Yeah, no, they're powerhouse, right? They're just an absolute power. They're the Gillette of 3A.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. And then I didn't see this one. 2A. Congratulations to the Bighorn Rams beating the Cokeville Panthers 42-12.
Yeah, Bighorn is also a wagon in football in that division.
Okay, so I guess there's only one game tomorrow.
4A.
Is 4A, which is going to be my East High Thunderbirds versus the Sheridan Bronx, and that's going to be a tough one for the Thunderbirds. Sheridan should win, but you never know. So congratulations to everybody. That's cool. I think it's great that they get to play those games in Laramie.
That's really unique for sure. Like, Montana, they don't really do the neutral site thing. They just kind of, play wherever.
Okay.
So
I know here in Colorado, they'll play at a neutral site more often than not. Sometimes it's at Mile High. Sometimes it's in Boulder. I think they've even played it in Fort Collins a couple times.
Man, so, Laramie is just so far to go if you're like Sheridan or Cody.
Sure.
Like, that's a haul.
Rashawn's in the house. Hey, Rashawn. Good to see you. Good to see you. Glad you could join us live. I know you missed our live one in the middle of the week, but glad you're here. All right, where do we want to go with this? Oh, Ragtime Stew's in the house. I get the excitement for 17 playing tight end, but yet again, the offense couldn't move with him on the field. Do we want to talk about that now, or should we get into it later?
Well, we talked about this in our group text, but
yeah.
It was whenever Svoboda, obviously the kid is a terrific athlete.
Is he?
I think he's a good athlete. I just don't know what position he actually fills.
Is he athletic, though?
I think he's a good athlete.
Okay.
The problem, I guess, is, and Shay mentioned this in the group text, but every time that Evan was on the field, the Sheep knew exactly what was coming, and it was usually a run, and they would just load the box and stuff, whatever play just happened to be run, and they all just kind of ended in disaster.
It's true. I guess I'd have to look at the breakdown. I think you're probably right. I think they probably ran pretty much every time he was out there. If that's the case, why is he out there?
Yeah, and maybe that was just a product of Gillenborg being out tonight, and maybe tight end depth was a little rough. Nanke got some playing time. Obviously, he had a catcher too.
3 guys. We got Miles, who played quite a bit but dropped the ball. But
Miles had a catch.
Nanke 3 times. He dropped some balls.
So yeah, I guess I just
targets listed tonight.
Yeah,
he was targeted 3 times, so he dropped the ball twice for sure.
Yep. And Nanke had 1 target, 1 catch. So he caught the other ball thrown to him. So congrats to him. He really wanted to play in this game.
Yeah.
Being a former Sheep. So
yeah, it's a tough one.
But man, you look at the stats, right? And it was really evident on that last drive of the game where Wyoming had a little bit of momentum going. We were across. Oh shit! Yeah, Clint's got a good point.
No flea flicker, but no trick play. I'm shocked there wasn't a trick play.
Same. But, it was really evident in that last drive of the game. The Cowboys were across midfield. They were, had something cooking. 3 straight drops. Drop. And that was like kind of
Look at you, Rashawn.
something that kind of boiled up tonight. We had 7 drops tonight.
At least.
No, that's what the official scorebook says.
Oh, I see. There is drops on there. I've never noticed that.
Yeah,
before.
So we had 7 drops tonight. And that last drive, there was 3 alone. And
That's
all
bad.
3 of those probably would have extended that drive.
And how many? And to be fair, right? So we've been very critical of Sabota this year. And tonight we have to be critical of Anderson. With the 7 drops, right? Which were mostly his fault because the ball was just consistently high.
Well, the drops on the last drive were all catchable. They should have been caught.
I agree with you. But overall, he was throwing a hot ball, which you haven't seen him, right? He was trying to gun it in there for some reason. And they were high. And so he was 13 of 30, 43%. Bad. Yeah, you can't do that. But the thing was, guys were open.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't a scheme thing.
There was one drive, that 4th and 2 where he kind of scrambled out and airmailed a pass like to the sideline, like out into nowhere. There was nobody near that ball.
Yeah.
Sam Scott was standing 2 yards away, like waving his hands and like doing everything he could, like get some attention. And that would have been a first down. And that would have been like a 5-6 yard gain. We only needed 2, but it would have been like 5 or 6. And it was just kind of insanity. It would like Sam Scott could have been doing jumping jacks, and I don't think he would have gotten noticed. He damn near was actually, but.
So let's talk about that, right? So Anderson's played 2 games, played pretty well, obviously, but they were against Utah State and New Mexico, who are 2 of the worst defenses in the Mountain West. The Sheep, as we talked about, were the 4th ranked defense coming in to this game. And
in the Mountain West.
Yeah, in the Mountain West. So it looks like, right, this was the best defense they faced, and he had a big step backwards, which I guess isn't too big of a surprise. I'm actually pretty surprised by it. But there we go. So we have a freshman making freshman mistakes today. And then, the big thing here is we hope that he learns from them and can grow on it, unlike we saw from Svoboda.
Yep. Yeah, and this is definitely a come back to earth game for Anderson where, he probably came out and had a lot of success against New Mexico, and he's like, man, this college football thing is easy. And tonight was the holy crap, college football really comes at you fast.
Yeah.
He did have a rushing touchdown though, so that's cool.
True.
Our only touchdown of the game. Took like 8 tries, but finally got there.
Yeah, so the things I have written down is first half, bites Wyoming again. Can happen. You can't dig yourself continually basically almost a double-digit hole in every game because it doesn't matter who you are. You're not going to dig out of that 9 times out of 10, and that's why we're now 2-8. And so this coaching staff's got to figure it out, and I don't know. We'll talk more about their long-term future here in a minute. Let's talk more about this football game that we just witnessed. Running back rotation. Absolutely insane as far as I'm concerned. You have Whaley, who had, 20 carries and like 170 yards last week? And tonight he only gets 8 touches.
He was the leading carrier tonight.
Oh, he was. That's true. I guess we can give him credit for that.
The Cowboys kind of, for whatever reason, Jay Johnson kind of abandoned the rushing game after a while. And, we were running Farrell out there and we were running Sam Scott out there and we were running, whatever. And, Caden Anderson had like 1 or 2 designed runs and a couple of scrambles. But
which also made no sense because he was hitting the deck after 2 yards on every single one of them.
Yeah. He left himself short of first down on one of those scrambles.
Yeah.
But biggest offensive weapon that this team has is Harrison Whaley.
Yeah.
And we didn't utilize that weapon.
No.
And not to
Why?
the fullest extent we should have. And,
He
we
hurt.
started the game with Jamari Farrell. And to be fair, Jamari Farrell did have an incredible 62-yard run, and that set up the only Cowboy touchdown we had. But
Yes.
at the same time, like, you got to have your home run hitter in there. Like,
Yeah.
and
But if you remove the 62-yard run, then Farrell had 5 runs for 12 yards.
yeah, correct.
So not great.
No, not great at all. And so why, is Whaley in the doghouse? Is Whaley still hurt? Was
I
like,
don't know.
a 20 some odd carry performance last week or 2 weeks ago. Geez, like a bit too much for him. Or, I would just love to know the rationalization for this. And I'm sure when we hear a post-game press conference or the Monday press conference, we're just going to get extremely angry when somebody asks Savell that and he gives us some bullshit answer that nobody wants to hear because it's probably just another sign of his gross incompetence.
David is here. Welcome on. And David, he says the running back rotation, and he had some other comments about inexperienced quarterbacks, Peasley, stuff like that, stuff we've heard before.
Yeah, I think it's going to be probably, for people that watch the Monday press conferences or even the post games, like it's probably going to be extremely frustrating to
we'll have to see what he
hear
says.
some of these answers where it's just going to be, and Savell did that thing again where, time management, like he's never like done it before. Like just never, like it doesn't even enter his mind. Like, there was a chance before halftime to get the team into field goal range and, not using any timeouts when the Sheep had the ball at like the 1 yard line.
Yeah.
And then just, bagging on that and letting the clock run down. And, we finally got the ball back after the Sheep fumble with like 17 seconds left. And we had 2 timeouts and still just, packed it in with 17 seconds left and 2 timeouts because of something that happened 3 or 4 weeks ago.
And who predicted that?
Probably all of us, but yeah.
No, I did for sure. I said my major reason why I didn't pick Wyoming to win is because I don't trust Savell to manage a game.
No.
He doesn't know how to do it.
No, just terrible game manager.
It's very, 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 very
You
poor.
are on the struggle bus with those stats.
I am. I'm sorry. If you could see my screen right now, it's an absolute mess. Like I hit some setting and I don't know how to get rid of it that like makes everything, like in Super Mario where everything's big, like it makes everything huge. That's what my screen looks like right now. And welcome on in, everybody. 278 viewers on YouTube and Twitter. Great to see you all. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. As we have 2 more of these post games coming on, and we'll be doing tons of midweek shows as we cover basketball, wrestling, and football as this season goes on. So great to see you all. The screens are going to cause seizures. Yes, sorry. If you have epilepsy, please do not put on your blindfolds. Sorry. Do not sue me for this.
Can I just interject that?
Yeah, go ahead.
I see the Jake Paul entrance to the fight here.
Okay.
He is someone that didn't get punched hard enough in the face as a child just watching this entrance.
Here we go. Look at that. David says I'm still doing a better job than Netflix.
Man, mine's doing great right now.
That's a low bar, but I'll take it. I'll take it. Yeah, let's talk about some of these stats. Let me get this going again here. And again, none of this is new, which is why I get upset with this coaching staff. What's going on here? Why is it not showing over here? What's going on? Do I have to shrink this down? No, that's not going to help. What on earth? Okay, well, this is crazy. Let's see what we can do. Can we go comparison? Yeah, this will work. Here we go. We'll start with this. Total yards. Again, Wyoming dominated 446 to 237. Let me find my halftime notes. CSU had 274 yards or 81 yards at halftime. Again, look at that. Rushing attempts. 44 rushing attempts for the Sheep.
The first half, they were just running at will.
5.6 a carry. At one point, they were up to 11 yards a carry.
Yeah, Morrow was just unstoppable there for a while.
Yep. And so what I said, because I don't watch the Sheep play.
No.
Other games.
No.
And what I said in the midweek was they kind of remind me, maybe not like full-on bull ball, but Norvell, who's usually like, air raid, throw the ball all around. Well, he decided that he can't trust his quarterback. And so they're playing conservative, run the ball, defense first football, and look what's happened, which is kind of funny.
But look at Nicolosi's stats tonight.
I know, amazing.
14 to 17 for 192 yards.
Yeah, look at this.
He played a terrific game.
Right here, 14 to 17.
I think at one point when they popped up the stats, he was like 11 to 12 or
he had 13, no answer from Nicolosi throwing the ball tonight.
Yeah, the dude had an incredible game and did not throw it to any single Wyoming player, which was extremely disappointing.
Which makes my point, right? Efficient passing game. You don't have to throw it for 300 yards. You run the ball. You be effective 14 to 17 because, right, everybody's gearing up against the run. This is what I've been saying for years. And
but Nicolosi's best pass was like his bomb to start, or he had like two really nice long balls tonight.
He did. Yep. Right here, you can see Maher had the 53-yarder.
Yep.
And then great throw. Is it Goody? Had a 37-yarder and then a 24-yarder from Ross.
Yeah, he had that one like right down the sideline.
Those three right there. Bam, bam, bam.
Yep.
So let's see. So, yeah, Wyoming again. Anderson, pretty poor. 13 of 30. Wyoming passing the ball, not great. Nobody really doing much of anything on the receiver-wise. Running back-wise, I don't understand. 7, 8 carries, 6 carries. Why? Feed your bell cow.
Yep.
Again,
yeah.
Maybe we're going to find out that he had a tweak of something, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I can't wait to hear the reasoning for this because it's insanity.
Colbreth had a pretty poor night. He had a shank where he had one where he just dropped the snap, right? He was lucky to get it off.
Yep.
But again, this team is incapable of playing clean football. And that is because of the coaches.
The substitution penalties, like at some point, the coaches have to feel a certain amount of embarrassment about those. That's completely on them. And, just kind of the chef's kiss to the season is Swoboda getting flagged for an illegal substitution on a play that he thought he was supposed to be in on, but he wasn't.
Yeah.
It really felt like a chef's kiss.
Exactly. Yeah. And that is my number one critique of this coaching staff. We've had substitution penalties in every game this season. Every game. Either delay a game or 12 men on the field because we can't line up on offense and defense properly. And guess what? That's not going to get fixed because they don't care. Because any coaching staff worth a damn would have cleaned that up 2 months ago.
After,
2 months ago, it would have been cleaned up. And it's not been cleaned up because they don't care. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to make it very clear that these simple things aren't getting cleaned up is because they don't care.
Yep.
And they can blame the players all they want. But in the end, Jay Savell is the one who's making over $1 million this year to coach this football team. And he's not doing it.
Yeah, I mean that's just poor management, right? And that's just not having your ducks in a row, and it's just
and that too, Clint.
I'm sure there's a way to.
Offensive taunting penalty when we throw an incomplete pass out of bounds, we get called for taunting.
Yeah.
Again, why?
That was a benchable offense for sure.
How is that happening?
No accountability.
Because, again, as you know, the players take the personality of their coach. And the coach clearly, they don't respect him. I've said this from day one. He's the substitute teacher. The players don't listen to him. He's a player's coach. They love him. They don't respect him one bit. And I think at the other line, he's so afraid of making people mad that they might go into the portal that he will not discipline anybody and he won't say anything bad about anybody. That's just my opinion because we have no idea because we're not there. But I think it's pretty clear that that could be the case.
It's going to be an ugly portal season.
Yes.
Do you think there's a way to scrape the data to see how many of those, what we would call like coaching penalties? There's got to be a way to scrape that data.
Potentially, but you wouldn't really know, right?
Well, I mean, there's going to be like, you're probably looking for like, substitution
game, illegal substitution, and you could probably, take 70 or 80% of them and say, yeah, it was probably the coaches. Hard to tell, right?
Got to be a way to scrape that data.
But on a lot of them, we know that they're trying to make subs with under 10 seconds left on the play clock.
Yep.
Which is insane. I've never seen that anywhere. The only ever time I've seen that was with Nathaniel Hackett when he was the coach at the Broncos.
Oh, no.
And guess what? He got ran off less than one season.
Well, he's about to find his way out of the Jets too.
Yes,
so
that too. Yeah. So
even though he's Aaron Rodgers' best friend.
So we could get there. As I said, I didn't want to get to this point, but I think that we're here. So I don't know if this is the right quote. Do you people know history? I've heard this quote before. I'm on this quote website. They're attributing this to Harry Kissinger, but it is a quote that I've heard. I didn't know that it was him. I just looked it up, but I've heard this before. It says, whatever must happen ultimately should happen immediately. And that's where I am with Jay Savell. Well, it's pretty clear that he's not capable. He was handed a job, which I don't blame him. Again, this is Tom Berman's fault. He, without any type of search, handed the job to a guy who's never been a head coach. And now we are feeling the burn. And so,
yeah, and unless some donor steps up, like some extremely angry donor or donors step up, Savell's going to be here next year.
No, I agree.
He's going to be here next year because his buyout is just,
it's $4 million. We'd have to pay him.
$4 million?
Yeah.
Oh man, somebody will come up with that.
Well, maybe. Let's hope. I mean, I don't like to see people lose their jobs, but I mean, this guy is clearly not. He's not cut out for this. There's a reason he's been an assistant coach for 25 plus years and never been a head coach.
Yeah, and I think there's good coaches on our staff.
Obviously, because they were under Bull, and Bull held them accountable. I don't think he holds coaches or his players accountable. And so everybody is lax.
There needs to be some running a veto at some point for malfeasance.
It is. So that's where I'm at. And our friend who's on this podcast many times, Brian Stevens, he's already there. He was there a couple of weeks ago. But I've seen enough, right? If you can't fix these tiny little things, and we got 2 games left, which, by the way, we're not winning another game, folks. We're going 2-10. We're not beating Boise.
God, how funny would that be, though?
It would be funny. No, it would be
hilarious.
It would be one of the funniest things ever. But
Army would be sending us like all the presents in the world after that.
Their running back's going to put up 300 yards on us, easy.
If they don't pull it in the second half.
And then you close the season against another ranked team in Washington State on the road,
who has sniped coaches and players from us,
which is true. So we're going 2-10. You're looking at a 2-10 season with a coach who has showed zero improvement from day one. Now, you show me anything where we can hang our hat on and say, Chad, next year it's going to be better because of this. Now, anybody who's reasonable you can't point to anything. And we've beaten up on the offense, but let's talk about the defense. The defense is a train wreck.
They ran right at the holes that New Mexico did last week and
it's a
or
train
2
wreck.
weeks ago, and they spent a week not doing anything.
And we have Jay Savell, who obviously was a very good defensive coordinator for us.
Mm-hmm.
He promoted Aaron Bolt. And again, we don't know what the dynamic is of who's actually making the game plans and stuff, but it's not working. We brought back a senior-laden defense who ranked, I could bring up the stats, but they were one of the top units in the Mountain West last year, and this year they're one of the worst. Only thing that changed is Craig Bowl left the building.
And we've seen regression in some of those players too.
They're terrible. Yes.
Like some of the players that were supposed to be our all Mountain West type players.
The linebackers
have regressed significantly.
The defensive line? It's a shadow of themselves. The line
played fairly well tonight. I thought Devon Harris looked outstanding tonight.
Can't project on positives until after the portal closes?
Oof. Still got a month.
Well, that's going to make things worse, won't it?
Well, the portal opens what, like right before Christmas or something like that?
December 9th, actually, I think. I heard that.
Yeah,
today.
So right after recruiting, the first recruiting.
Signing day is December 4th.
Yep.
And then the portal opens December 9th. And you're going to see a busy portal season, trust me.
Yep.
I don't know how bad it's going to be, but we're going to lose starters. We're going to lose guys on the bench. Mm-hmm. Wyoming's going to lose a lot of people because that's what happens when you go more than likely 2-10.
Yeah.
And I know people say, well, Chad, how can you say we're going to go 2-10? We are.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest here. They couldn't show up against their arch rivals after a bye week.
That Washington State quarterback is so good, too.
Yeah.
John Mateer, I think his name is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's good. He's not a big guy, but he's good.
Over under 90 points scored by the opponents over the next 2 games. Oh, yeah, over. Yeah, it's going to be over that.
Yeah, Boise's been putting up a lot of points. They're trying to really make their case for that group of 5.
Both of them are. Both of them are trying to get a playoff spot.
Honestly, and so this too, Miami had a loss last week.
Yeah.
And they were still in the 4 spot ahead of Boise. And I think that's horse crap. Like, I
have not paid attention. So you're telling me that Washington or Miami was in the top 4. They lost a game and stayed in the top 4?
Yep. Because the top 4 conference champions get a seed or get a bye.
So they're projecting them still as the champions of that conference, even though
but there's no world where Miami's better than Boise.
That's a little iffy. I'd agree.
Yeah. And Miami got boat raced by Georgia Tech. Boise's only losses to Oregon,
which is the number 1 team in the country.
Yep. Last we checked.
Yeah. Jeez.
So
yeah, man.
Yeah,
I don't know.
The ACC sucks. They know it.
I don't know. Interesting.
Not that the Mountain West is great, but
no.
We don't
even with all these Pac-12 schools, right? Propping us up. Wink, wink, nod, nod. Yeah, I know. So let's talk about CBS. Thought again. Now, this is very interesting. In the past, they refused to use the word border war. But tonight, Chris Lewis, he did drop it like 2 or 3 times.
He tried
for a while.
He kept forgetting.
Yeah, I think he forgot. And he's probably going to get like fined or something. But look, can we stop with the nonsense? It's the border war.
Always has been, always will be.
Stop with the PC bull crap. We don't need to call it. What did he call it a couple times? Like the
border rivalry or something like
the border rivalry. He said, "Yeah." I'm like, no, it's the border war. Stop.
Which was hilarious because CSU had the drone show, before the game, and they had like the boot up there. Then the drones called it the border war, and CBS showed that.
Yeah. So stop.
So it's like,
let's stop with the PC garbage. Just same thing like what used to be the Red River Shootout. And now they call it the Red River Rivalry. So it's just a matter of time before all these people get beaten down and we're going to change the name of the border war. But whatever. Stop it. Let's stop the nonsense.
Texas Tech going to have to start saying fingers up.
Fingers up. Yeah. 2. who's the name of that? I always forgot his name. The color guy.
Dante Whitner.
Yes, he was excellent
He
because
was really
he
good.
was explaining things to people who don't understand stuff, which is great. And he was actually obviously a very good. He was a safety, right?
Yeah, he played for
Was
the
he a linebacker?
49ers.
He was a safety. Yeah, very
Yeah.
good safety in the NFL, and I think he's done it. He did a very good job tonight
Mhm.
in his
Yeah, I think so too.
in his role as explaining things as a color commentator. I thought he did great. So I'd like to see him. He has a future. I think
Mhm.
he probably won't be at CBS very long. He'll
Not
move up.
CBS Sports anyway.
Yeah, he'll be on like main CBS at some point. Is my
Yeah.
prediction. He did a great job.
Clint
So, yeah.
Clint's got a really funny chat in there because I kind of thought the same thing a lot where
What?
uh
This one?
yeah. Like there was a lot like, they questioned Savel's play call or like his time management, like play
They
calling,
did.
like Jay Johnson's play calling, like running
Yes.
a draw on 4th and 7 from the 50-yard line. Like,
Yeah.
a
A delayed draw. Yeah.
And
At
if we're
one
just
point in
idiot
time,
fans and we say this, and the guys in the booth are saying this,
yeah,
we got a problem.
we do have a problem. Yes, Clint. Very good. Yeah, that play call where what? Was it 3rd down or 4th down? We ran a delayed draw to our slowest running back.
It's 4th down.
It was like a counter, too. It was like some kind of counter delayed draw. And I'm like, what are we doing?
I think Cody Tucker tweeted something to the effect of like a delayed to follow the penetration or something like that. But the only penetration on that was like through the UW offensive line.
Yeah, I mean, ridiculousness. And then on the goal line, too, we're running out of the pistol.
And it failed like 3 times.
On the 1-yard line, like, what are you doing?
You have Sam Scott, just punch it in.
You have Whaley.
You have Whaley, you can punch it in too if you want to.
Who apparently is like so injured now, or you got pissed off at him probably because he told you, hey, what the hell are you doing? Wouldn't surprise me, right? So that's something to watch. They said his body language on the feet on the sideline, I heard this from multiple people, was terrible.
Yeah.
So again, Whaley is like the #1 supporter of Jay Savell. And if you pissed off Whaley and he decides to go in the portal, just watch on this. That is a red flag.
Well, if we lose Whaley, we lose a recruit too. So I mean that's a 2-person loss.
Yeah, exactly. And we only have 10 commits, by the way, and we're less than 3 weeks away from signing day, and we want a class of 35.
Well, we have a class of 15 at this point.
So, yeah, Clint says, I didn't see the tweet.
I didn't either. I must have missed it.
All right. So anyway, a very disappointing night. We all thought that Wyoming would do better.
Well, Shay and I did anyways.
Yeah. I mean, I did too. I thought we'd be in the game. I thought it'd be competitive. The score was closer than the game was, right?
Yeah. Yeah. If the Sheep hadn't gone ultra conservative in the second half.
Oh, yeah. They could have blown us out of the water if they wanted to, but they knew they had the game won.
Yeah.
So
save it up for the whatever they got coming.
So we'll have to see what Savell said in this post game. We'll check it out after this. That's the only problem with doing this show right away is we miss what he says. Again, I don't care what he says because he's proven to be just full of crap, to be honest.
Yeah.
At 1 week, he's saying, I can't bench Savoda because he'll leave, and then he benches him the next week.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a load of nonsense. So, again, his game management, terrible. His talent evaluation, terrible. And these are things that, in my opinion, can't be fixed. I don't think they can be fixed, and I think you should pull the plug. But I know that because we live in a world where financial restraints are in play.
Oh, God, Jesus. It's Chad, this is horrible.
What?
I'm just reading through Twitter right now, and I'm looking at something Anthony Dion tweeted.
Quotes from Savell.
Savell blamed the lack of carries for Harrison Whaley in the game on overall effectiveness of the run game and wanting to use Farrell and Scott too.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Again, that tells you right there that these people are not serious football coaches.
No. If you're serious
about it, you can't have it both ways. He was whining and crying. Well, we're not running the ball because we don't have our best running back. Wham, wham, wham. Well, you got your best running back, and now he's saying, well, we don't want to make these other. He doesn't want to make anybody upset, which is A, not a leader, and B, a poor football coach who evaluates talent and game management.
Yeah,
it just shows you. I don't want to be this way.
I knew whatever he said was going to piss people off, and that's going to piss people off.
I don't want to be this way.
Just, he's not serious about winning. And we shouldn't take him seriously as a head coach. So I guess it works out.
All right. I think somehow on Twitter we got whacked out. Let's check here. Something went wrong on my end. I don't know if we're still up. Let's see here. Let's check it out. Okay. Yeah, see, you made me angry. It's not your fault.
No, I was hoping to make you angry. It's much funnier.
No, I don't know. Something went wrong with maybe UW pulled us. I don't know. Who knows? We're still on the YouTubes, I know. We've been going for a bit now. So we could probably wrap up here. But yeah, I'll just say that I've seen enough. There's nothing you can hang your hat on with this coaching staff. The problems in day one are the problems now. Either they're allowing it or they're coaching it. And either way, a sane school would just pull the plug and say, hey, we made a mistake, and have an actual search.
Yeah. I mean, Jay Savell is not to be taken seriously as a head coach.
But the problem is Tom Berman ultimately made this decision, and he shouldn't be allowed to make another decision. So unless Berman is removed, we know nothing's going to happen. And I guess it is what it is. If nobody cares, that's fine. But you can show up with your butts, right? If next Saturday in Laramie, nobody shows up, that's the only way they're going to get the message.
Well,
if you're not happy with what you're seeing, don't show up next week.
You can't send an NIL begging fans for money. You can't send the Cowboy Joe Club begging for money and turn out this product on the field. Jay Savell is not a serious coach. And if you're going to send these collectives at us and, we need money to keep these players. Okay, well, our best player was on the bench tonight because
why? Exactly.
Other running backs wanted carries. Okay, cool.
That's fine. You can't keep everybody happy, including fans. So I don't know. I don't know, man.
Maybe the collective can raise money to buy out Savell.
Now that would be a twist on a collective.
I don't know, man. Florida was trying to do it. They were trying to get Billy Napier out of there.
Yeah, he'll go eventually, and so will Savell. Savell's on borrowed time. It's just a matter of getting the proper AD at Wyoming, the proper president who sees that. Hey, but again, this is a Vic Koenig situation. I have no problem saying it right now because I've lived through it. I've seen it before. Actually, I would argue this is worse. I think this is actually worse than Koenig.
Well, the thing with the Koenig era, though, was
Koenig didn't get handed a 9-win football team with 16 returning starters.
Well, and, in the Koenig, the one thing going for Vic Koenig, I guess, was the transfer portal didn't exist. So players couldn't just peace out at a moment's notice.
True.
And just beat feet.
True. All right. I don't know. Somehow we're not on Twitter anymore.
No, I still show it.
You do? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's good news. All right. Well, anybody else out there have any? I think everybody's probably like, yeah, we've had enough.
Yeah, and we're already halfway through the Tyson fight, so.
Okay. Well, don't tell me about it. I'll probably pull it up on delay and watch it. I've got nothing else to.
Buddy, you might as well just watch the UCLA game because this is terrible.
Okay. Then maybe not. Maybe I won't care. So, all right, folks. Well, Wyoming loses. And, let's see. Tomorrow night we have basketball.
Mm-hmm.
The Pokes will be playing Utah Tech.
Ooh.
Which is formerly known as Dixie State. at home in the AA. So we'll see if they have a bounce back after just getting absolutely blown out in Lubbock.
Not great.
And football team will have their last home game of the year, senior day against Boise. Whoosh. And
Gonna need to medicate
I don't
for
know.
that one.
It'd be great to ruin their season.
God, that would be so funny.
It would be one of the funniest things ever, but I can't see any scenario how that would happen.
I can't either, but God,
unless they were all like shooting up heroin before the game.
Boise, you never know.
I don't know. Oh boy.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. We got a chat here. Clint says, "Thank you guys. Have a great night." Thank you, Clint. Yeah, I mean we've said our words, so we'll see. We'll have hopefully a midweek show. We'll see. We'll talk about some stuff, but tough to take this on the chin. But everybody think out there again. If you want something to change, write the university, and B, don't show up to the game if you're unhappy. If you're truly unhappy, I'm not telling you how to feel, but that's the only way these universities know. If you're unhappy, just don't show up next week. And I understand Wyoming people are nice people and they don't want to do that, but man, we're probably looking at 2 more blowouts to end the season. 2-10. So There'll be a lot to talk about this offseason. And as I said, the portal and recruiting in the next couple of weeks is going to be rather entertaining. So we'll be here for you to break it all down. Any last words, Mr. Reed?
Cam the Ram can go straight to hell.
There we go.
You don't touch the trophy till the game's over, dick.
Yeah, there we go.
That's all I got.
Again, I've never seen that in my life.
No.
Pretty insane. Pretty insane. But hey, what do I know? What do we know? We're just a bunch of random internet bloggers.
Truth.
That is true. So, all right, everybody. Well, thank you for joining us for this therapy session. Maybe we needed it more than you did tonight. But we'll be back midweek for a roundup, and we'll talk some basketball, and we'll talk some football as well. And hopefully by then, we'll have something good to talk about.
Hopefully y'all got your Ashton Jainty Heisman futures in.
Yeah.
While the odds were still good.
So, all right, for Brad Reed, I'm Chad Smith. Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. Enjoy your Friday. Hey, and enjoy a Saturday of watching college football with teams who actually know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Be an entertaining day. So, all right. Catch y'all later. Thank you for joining us.